integration with money strategy. So, like, what does that even mean? How does that work? I want to start with a quote from Deepak Chopra. He made a really interesting quote about wealth consciousness. And I talk a lot about wealth, but I don't think a lot of people understand building wealth, or they have an aversion to it because they see wealthy people as some type of way, right? Greedy or not nice or whatever. They don't identify as being wealthy. And even wealthy people that I've worked with who are, have multi-million dollar businesses, who, have 20 million, $40 million in the bank, are retired or not retired, like they don't even identify as wealthy per se, because their consciousness around wealth has not shifted. And so the quote I want to offer to you is, wealth consciousness is so much more than simply having the ability to make money. It is a mindset that involves seeing life not as a struggle, but as this magical adventure where our needs are met with grace and with ease. Wealth consciousness is a state of mind, a sense not of believing, but really knowing what we need is available to us. So I just love how he phrases that, because in knowing what is available to you, that's like the opportunities I had just mentioned, right? It's showing up every single day in this conscious space of gratitude and recognizing that you have these opportunities right in front of you, and you know that when you're met up against that resistance, up against the things that maybe you don't necessarily want to do, you actually start to expand out of it. You get to acknowledge and understand that what you need is just beyond that. Like, more and more is available to you, and you can step into a space of abundance of time, abundance of energy, of money, of peace, of joy. All of that is available to you. And so when we start to show up in a more wealth conscious state of mind and not place judgment, good or bad, on our wealth consciousness, now we start to open up to these opportunities, and we start to know and understand and believe that that is possible, that that is available to us. So the next piece I want to really reference is, when it comes to money strategy, your motivation. And motivation is really crucial to understand, even from an energetic level. For those of you who don't know, Dr. Joe Dispenza references this in a lot of his work. I think what's really powerful about understanding motivation is that there is different levels of motivation that we can vibrate at in our energy and how we show up in the world. The highest and most selfless form of motivation is purpose motivation. So we've just been talking about your life purpose, your life vision. That purpose, that duty, that mission in life is your highest form of vibration. It is where you actually attract the most opportunities. It is your most selfless version of yourself, because your purpose goes beyond you. It serves a higher good. It serves more people. You're giving more than you are receiving, and you're in this state of abundance. The lowest form of motivation, which I know I've resonated with in the past, and where a lot of people resonate, is money motivation. So while some of us may have come from like corporate world, or are really in like kind of this hustle grind type of energy constantly, that is money motivated, that is our lowest and most selfish form of motivation. So it's a lower energy vibe. You don't attract as much. That's why it's a hustle. That's why it's a grind. It is hard. It is a lot of work, and we are freaking exhausted after that. Is money as the motivator, right? So there's a few levels in between that, but those two are the most important. It's like literally on the opposite ends of the scale: purpose as your motivation, or money as your motivation. Now, I, of all people, love to talk about money, and I love to talk about it in this integrated way of aligning it with your purpose, because the more I can help you with that, the more money you can make, and the more selfless it becomes, and the more of an experience and magical adventure it becomes. So that's why I love talking about this. So from that state of mind, you really want to sit with and contemplate on, what are my motivations here each and every day? How am I showing up to be motivated to obviously pay the bills? Like, yes, we all get to do that. And how can I show up even more powerfully in my highest level of selflessness and be in my purpose and try to be more and more aligned each and every day with my purpose in life. The more you can acknowledge where that is for you and what that looks like, the more you start to attract all these opportunities, as we discussed. When I first started meditating on my purpose every day and really what the desires of my heart were beginning to kind of pull through, it became more and more clear what my purpose was, but it also became really clear how to enact and execute on my vision. And as I had mentioned before, your purpose is kind of this higher level of how you show up in the world, what the behaviors look like, and your vision is the how to execute on that purpose. So when that all goes hand in hand with your money strategy, the framework is kind of like this puzzle piece. So what I do with my clients is really lay out all the puzzle pieces and acknowledge that, hey, these are all the pieces and all of the kind of stops along the way in order to get through a literal roadmap of you're right here and you want to get over here. This is your North Star. This is where you want to go. And so when you sit with that purpose, that money strategy becomes more and more clear as well. So it goes hand in hand with one another. And the tools that I'm able to now give my clients allow for that roadmap to be established. So now we can really get a sense of, do you pay off the debt first? Do you start a business? Do you invest in yourself more and get more training and certifications? And what does that look like? And we have kind of more of this framework and roadmap around you're at point A, you want to get to point B, that's your North Star, the time frames it's going to take to get there, how much transformation gets to occur in order to get down that road, and the, as I mentioned, framework of all the puzzle pieces, which are the layout along the way. So all of those stops can be implemented through an execution plan. And this is kind of where I enjoy spending time, is like in the execution plan, if we can allow your money to be organized and really create this strong foundation of financial wellness. So that's where my heart starts, is at the foundational wellness of financial planning. And knowing that we're building this massive vision and this massive estate of your purpose and your house financially, we get to start at this very basic foundational level of organization, right? That's the first phase. Then it's, how do we automate some of this? How do we make it even easier for you to show up, not be worried about money, not be spending too much of your time and energy on money. It's more spending time on your motivation, which is your purpose, right? So setting certain goals to attain along that roadmap and along that journey. So setting 3 goals with your money: short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. What does that look like? Having the framework for that. Um, a lot of the people I meet with, especially lately, I find interesting because they don't necessarily have goals for their money, which, boggles my mind, just being in the business that I'm in. But I'm really starting to understand that, like, people just, they kind of aimlessly track through this thing called life, and they do the things they get told to along the way. Maybe they save a little bit in emergency funds, they put some money away towards retirement, but there's this whole massive in between called life where you're in this middle ground and you get to have goals there too. So that's really my passion, is setting goals around 1 year, 3 year, 5 years out. What does that look like? How do you automate that process so you don't have to worry about those things? Because you do want to buy a house, you do want to buy rental properties, or you want to, save for your children's college education, all these different goals that you have. You want to leave your job and create a corporate exit strategy so that you can leave your job and get into more purposeful work. All of those things are additional goals that happen in this middle term part of your life. So in knowing that, how do we get to more effectively plan for that from a money strategy perspective?